Hello friends, welcome back. I am Sandeep Kaushik from Genesis Mentors Pune, and in the previous videos we have already discussed the visual reasoning type of questions which were based on series completion. Now as you can see, this is a CET workshop visual reasoning 3. So here we would be having a new set of 10 questions which are based on different directions. So let's first talk about the directions for question number 1 to 10 for this workshop. In each problem, out of the 5 figures marked 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 4 are similar in a certain manner. However, one figure is not like the other 4. Choose the figure which is different from the rest. It means here these directions tell me that I need to find out the odd man out, right? It means every question will consist of 5 figures, and out of 5 figures 4 are going to be similar in some or the other manner, and the 5th one is going to be different, and I need to find out that odd man or the different figure out of all. For example, while talking about the first question, now when we looked at the base figure is going to be same for all of them, but the orientations are different. So here we are not there to find out the series. So I am not interested in the orientation. I am interested in how the 4 objects are going to be similar and the 5th one is going to be different than them. So when I looked at the first 2 objects, the shaded part was the larger oval part in that figure, right? But the remaining 3, the shaded part is the smaller part, right? So this also can't be my logic, because there can't be 2 or 3 odd man out. Only one odd man out is there. So these 2 small figures have a very important role to play in our answer. So when I looked at these 2 figures, one plus and one arrow, these 2 were towards the shaded part, right, in the first frame. In the second frame, they are again towards the shaded part. In the third frame, though it is the smaller part, but it is still towards the shaded part. And in the 5th one, again they both are towards the shaded part, but it is only the 4th figure where they are towards the unshaded part, which is why this 4th figure has to be an odd man out. It means these 4 figures 1, 2, 3 and 5 follow a particular pattern, that is the shaded part, the 2 objects, smaller objects are towards the shaded part, and this is the odd man out because it has the 2 objects towards the unshaded part. Now moving on to the second problem. Here we can clearly see that we are talking about the 2 objects. One is a pin, one is an arrow. Pin is outwards to the line and arrow is inwards to the line. Pin is outwards, arrow is inwards. Pin is outwards, arrow is inwards. Pin is outwards, arrow is inwards. Pin is outwards and arrow is inwards. So this is not a criteria to decide the odd man out. So then I closely looked at it, that here the pin had 1, 2, 3 smaller lines before the separator line comes out, and 2 lines after that separator was towards the arrow. So 3 small lines for pin and 2 small lines for arrow. Here the other way around, it is a 3 small lines for arrow and 2 small lines for pin. Here again 3 small lines for arrow and 2 small lines for pin. Again 3 small lines for arrow, 2 small lines for pin. 3 small lines for arrow and 2 small lines for pin. It means the first figure was my odd man out, because it was not having 3 lines towards the arrow and 2 towards the pin. It was the other way around, 3 small lines towards the pin and 2 were towards the arrow, which is not there in all the remaining figures. So the odd man out was problem figure or figure number 1. Now moving on to the next question, where we can clearly observe that all these figures are divided into 4 parts and one part is shaded out of the 4 parts, right? So this is not the criteria to decide odd man out. Then I will look at the location or the position of that shaded part. Now this shaded part is the top right corner. This is the bottom right corner. Again a bottom right corner, again a bottom right corner, again a bottom right corner. It means here again my correct answer is going to be figure number 1, because in the figure number 1 the shaded part is the top right corner rather than the bottom right corner. So moving on to the question number 4. Now in question number 4, applying a different logic, we saw that here the first figure consists of a semicircle divided into 2 parts, rhombus or a square divided into 4 parts, rhombus divided into 4 parts, again a oval divided into 4 parts and triangle divided into 3 parts. So the number of parts is not the criteria, because 2, 3 and 4. So let us try to look it from another angle. Now here the 2 parts in which the semicircle is divided, both are symmetrical. It means they both are overlapping. Here the 4 parts in which the square is divided are all overlapping or identical. Here again the rhombus is divided into 4 parts, all the 4 parts are identical or they are overlapping parts. And in this triangle also, these 3 parts, all the 3 parts are kite, which are definitely overlapping to each other or symmetrical. So it means my correct answer, the odd man out, is going to be figure number 4, because figure number 4 is not divided into 4 identical parts. Now the same logic, so all the 4 questions that we have seen are of different types. So we need to understand that here we are not establishing a series, we are trying to find out out of these 5 figures given to us, 4 of them should be similar in some manner and the 5th one has to be odd man out. So moving on to the 5th problem, when you look at this 5th problem, here when you see that there are 1, 2, 3 L's followed by a line and 1 L. So in all the figures there are 3 L's, 1 line and 1 L, 3 L's consecutive, 1 separator line and then a single L. All of them are there. But when we see the orientations of these L's, figure number 1, figure number 2 and figure number 3 has the same orientation of L's in one direction, and figure number 4 and 5 in other directions. Right, and when I closely look at it, figure number 4 and figure number 5 are overlapping figures. It means I can rotate figure number 4 to get the position of figure number 5. Just I need to make this L come at this position. So if this L is at this position, this will automatically come at this position, this will come at this position, 1 separator line and definitely then the remaining L. So it means 4 can be rotated to make 5. Now let me try to check it out whether 1 can be rotated to make 2 or 3, or 2 can be rotated to make 3. Let's try to check it out. So when I talk about 1 and I talk about 3, right, when I try to rotate it out, if I take this line at this line, so obviously this line would be this line, this L would be this L, this separator would be here and this L would automatically come here. It means 1 and 3 are also formed by rotating each other, right? I can rotate 1 to form 3 or I can rotate 3 to form 1. It means the odd man out is going to be figure number 2. So these kind of things also have to be taken into account, right? So not every question of series would be difficult, not every question of odd man out would be difficult. You just need to practice these questions to ace visual reasoning, right? Which is, I said, a very integral part in MHCET. So moving on to question number 6. Question number 6 talks about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, right? When I talk about these 5 lines, out of these 5 lines, there are 3 half arrows that are being used, right? In which 2 of them are in one direction and 1 of them is in one direction. 2 of them in one direction, 1 in one direction, right? And in fact, 2 of them are towards the left and 1 is to the right. 2 left, 1 right. 2 left, 1 right. 2 left, 1 right. 1 left, 2 right. It means this most probably should be the odd man out, right? Because in the first 4 figures, the 2 arrows are facing left and 1 arrow is facing right. Here in the 5th one it is the other way around. 1 is facing to the left and 2 are facing right. The other way of looking at it would also be that you can see that this closed figure is being formed. It means the 2 consecutive arrows, 1 is pointing up, 1 is pointing down, right, in the opposite directions. Here also the same figure is being formed. Here also the same figure is being formed. Here also the same figure is being formed, but here that figure was not formed. So that also, because if it would have been here, I would have checked with the direction of the arrows. So by any logic, the 5th one has to be the odd man out. Now moving on to the next question, which is the 7th one. Right, when we talked about each and every frame or the problem figure consists of 1, 2 and 3 figures, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But when you try to have the logic, this 5th figure talks about 4, 5, 6. So here the number of sides are increasing when we move from outer figure to the smaller figure. So 4, 5, 6. 4th one we talk about 6, 5 and 4, the other reverse way of this, right? So 6, 5, 4, decreasing order. Here it is 3, 4, 5, increasing order. Here it is 5, 4, 3, decreasing order. But when you looked at problem figure 1, you talked about 5-sided figure. Inside that there was a 4-sided figure. So either we should have used a triangle here. So 5, 4, 3. But here it is a hexagon which is 6 sides. So practically 5, 4 and 6 is neither forming a series inwards nor forming an increasing series outwards. It means my correct answer is going to be problem figure 1. Now moving on to problem number 8. Again, when we looked at problem number 8, what we saw is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of them look similar only, right? But let me try to see that can we rotate any figures to form any other figure. For example, if I talk about figure number 1, I try to rotate figure number 1 to get figure number 2, which was not possible, right? So when I rotate figure number 1, figure number 2 is it going to be formed? If I rotate figure number 1 and I take this leaf at this position, because this is the extreme left, so anyways it would definitely be this leaf, right? So if this is this leaf, there is an angle which is 90 degree that is being formed, which is missing here, right? Because if I take this leaf here, the next leaf will have a 45 degree between them, so this 90 degree is not possible. So 1 cannot be rotated to get 2, but when you look at 2 can be rotated to make 3. Because when you are talking about rotating 2, definitely if you take this leaf and rotate it to this position, the 90 degree leaf is definitely going to be formed, and then 45 degree. So 2 can be rotated to make 3. In fact, 2 can be rotated to make 4, or even 3 can be rotated to make 4. It means 2, 3, 4 and 5. I can definitely make any of these figures by rotating the other figure, right? So this 2, 3, 4 and 5 are rotations of the figure, but 1 is an odd man out, right? So moving on to the next figure, which is the 9th one. So in question number 8, it was a rotation, right, which was handy. Vis-a-vis figure number 9, lot of objects are there, right? Then when I see cross, all the frames cross was there, right? Then circle, all the frames circle were there, right? When we talk about addition sign, plus, is there a plus here? No plus here. It means this is the odd man out. Instead of this rectangle, which is a odd man figure, I should have a plus sign here, and hence my 4th figure is going to be the odd man out. So sometimes you just need to be very proactive to find out what is the pattern, which figure is or which symbol is missing, right, from the frames. Now moving on to the 10th problem, which is the last problem of this workshop. When we talk about the odd man out, we can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 parts, symmetrical figure, right? 4 parts, symmetrical figure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is the odd number of leaves are there, right? So it is not symmetrical, right? I cannot just rotate it by some 45 degrees and get the same orientation, right? Here I can rotate it by 45 degree, here I can rotate it by 90 degree. Here again it is in the 4 parts. It means these two are again overlapping, right? So 4 parts, symmetrical. This is also a symmetrical figure, right? Symmetrical figure means again the image would definitely come out to be, or it also consists of 6 leaves, right? So even leaves 6, even leaves 4, even leaves 4, even leaves 8. But here it is the odd number of leaves, and even I cannot get it by some rotating 180 degree or 45 degrees, right? So this is my odd man out, which is figure number 3. So I hope now you got some logic for these odd man out types of questions, right? So in the first 2 videos, I repeat, we have discussed series completion types of question. Here we have discussed 10 questions which are based on odd man out. Now keep on watching our next videos, because in the next video I am going to discuss 10 more questions which are based on odd man out, and then we will move on to subsequently new topic, right? Thank you very much for watching.